Hey guys, today I want to discuss one of the primary reasons, if not the primary reason, that I procrastinate. Knowing that I'm not unique, that none of us are unique, I didn't mean that in a derogatory way, but knowing that I'm not unique, I'm hoping that the reason I procrastinate will be helpful to you all, and I have a feeling it will. At least to the perfectionists out there, but here I am procrastinating this talk, so let's get started. I'm realizing that most of the time when I push a task until later, it's because I unknowingly created anxiety around that task. I think this anxiety stems from the fact that I set the standard of success so impossibly high, which creates pressure around the outcome. When I think about something I want to accomplish, I focus on the desired, perfected result, considering all at once at the same time every step that's necessary to achieve that desired end state. This abstract way of thinking allows the steps, which should be concrete and actionable, to mutate, swirl, and twist into one massively overwhelming order that I would rather fill tomorrow than today. Sometimes it impacts me at work. When I'm given an important assignment at work, I tell myself without even knowing it that I expect the product to be flawless, which puts so much pressure on getting started if I don't have a clear 100% idea of how I already want it to be. I feel paralyzed. And this seeps into so many areas of my life. There's really small things that come from it, such as if I need to clean my apartment, I get stuck thinking, oh wow, what a huge undertaking it'll be to get my whole apartment spotless down to the baseboards. I'd rather do that tomorrow. But if I were to make the task less daunting, I don't think I would push it off in that same way. That's a small example, but this impacts significant things like goals that we want to achieve. For example, if I tell myself I'll wait until next year to start learning another language because I'm thinking of how much effort and focus it will require to become conversationally fluent in that new language. And why is it that I'm already hell-bent on the end result when I'm just beginning to do something? And for substantial goals, this procrastination can persist for years if we allow it to. Let me tell you a short story. If you haven't noticed, I'm of Middle Eastern descent. I was born and raised speaking only English in a suburb outside of Philadelphia. So I wanted to learn Arabic. When I was 14, I asked my parents, because I did not have my own income, to buy me Rosetta Stone. They bought me levels 1 through 6 to the tune of $1,200 12 years ago. I was super excited when I got my first CD, and I popped it into my laptop and went through the first level, which took about an hour, at the end of which I received a 90%. A 90%? Isn't that like a B+? Seeing as that was very disappointing to me, I redid the whole hour-long lesson. Now I'm 2 hours deep and I earned a 100% the second time, which was what I wanted, okay. But then it said, great job on lesson 1A, you can now proceed to lesson 1B. And I was like, oh, it's not lesson 2. So I was thinking, let me see how many lessons and sub-lessons there are in each one of these. When I saw the sheer magnitude of different units and lessons that were involved in each level, I immediately was paralyzed thinking, how long is it going to take me to get 100% in every single one of those? So my mistake here is so clear. Why did I need to get 100%? Because if I were to just go through the lessons, normally they would take the normal amount of time, but I placed this huge burden on myself by saying, you need to get them all right. And this kind of spiraled, so I was thinking, once I get through all of these lessons, how am I going to further my education? Will it require immersion? How will I do that when I'm studying French and Spanish in school at the same time? Guess what I did then? I stopped. Stopping was really effective because it completely relieved my anxiety. So problem solved, right? After that, years passed, and every few days or few weeks, I would think, you should pick back up Arabic again, you should start. You told yourself you would. And that little voice in my head would give me anxiety because I thought of it as this monumental task that I couldn't possibly confront when I already have so many other things on my plate, and I pushed it away. I eventually took action to pick up Arabic again, at which point the CDs were incompatible with the new generation of laptops. So the program was useless. I realized that my laptop didn't have a CD drive, so I called Rosetta Stone and said, hey, I bought this product and I didn't use it. And they said, oh, well, too bad, basically. So they offered me a discount on a new whole set, and I felt a little bit dejected. So at this time I was 20 years old. I was speaking conversational Spanish and fluent French after living and attending a university in Montpellier in the south of France for quite some time. But why did my French reach fluency when my Arabic didn't even get off the ground? It has nothing to do with me and my ability to learn languages. It's because my formal education took care of what I couldn't. It fed me the language in small, consistent doses that I would have to swallow whether or not I was feeling anxious that day. If I had to self-study French, the exact same thing would have happened that happened with Arabic. I'm now 26 and finally learning Arabic, this time without Rosetta Stone because I spent enough years as a tutor to know how to logically break down a subject matter. And interestingly, being a tutor kind of depersonalized it for me because school was always an area where I felt so pressured to be an extreme perfectionist, and something about helping other people do their work and just kind of going through the motions, helping people write their college applications, their collegiate theses and their grad school dissertations, and doing all these things kind of took the stress out of it for me and made it more procedural because I wasn't emotionally attached to other people's work outcomes, and not in a mean way, but my future wasn't dependent on them doing well. I was just looking at it as this is a task, we're gonna do it well. And that way I was able to just see it objectively. And now when I see learning a language, I see it objectively. I still have a little bit of perfectionism, but when I hear the voice, I say, no, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna study for 30 minutes today, and that's it. So now I focus on what I need to learn today. I commit an amount of time I can handle, and then I plan out what I need to learn this week. And if I feel that anxious perfectionist pressure creeping, I emotionally disassociate with it and keep up my good habits. So I think that the only way to circumvent the pressure of super high expectations is to congratulate yourself and focus on small wins. Looking at a goal and a whole new skill you want to acquire feels so overwhelming because there's so much involved with it. But breaking the goal into smaller, manageable, logically sequenced subtasks when you want something, just look at step one, figure out what it is, and congratulate yourself when you complete it. And notice I said complete it. I didn't say complete it to utter perfection or get an award for it, because even if I begin a language learning course and I start at level 1, I'm gonna do the overwhelmed thing if I tell myself I need to get every question correct. The thing that I realized is this perfectionism is my own creation, and it's exhausting. I just realized what would have happened if I didn't get every question correct. Absolutely nothing. Nothing would have happened. I think I'm going to make a whole video on perfectionism because I've had so many epiphanies lately about how hard I've allowed it to make my life for so many years, and I still allow it, I still do, in so many areas, but there's no reason for it. And in relation to goals, we have to make showing up and giving a genuine effort enough. So let's say, for example, you want to earn a certification that will be helpful to you at work. Don't approach this certification thinking about how you need to put in 30 hours and you need to pass a final exam in order to achieve it. Also, don't chunk unrealistic amounts of time to study. Don't start on day 1 and say, I'm going to allocate 3 hours per day for 10 days and get my certification, when you also have a full-time job, a fitness regimen, family obligations, and a social life. If you frame it this way, you're immediately gonna freak yourself out. And if you self-impose anxiety by telling yourself that you need a 3-hour window to study each day to cover significant amounts of information, you're gonna feel like you wanna run away from it. And in this way, you're inviting procrastination and you're asking to disappoint yourself because you're not setting yourself up for success. What I hope you got from this episode is that setting the bar too high is setting yourself up to run away from the pressure. The pressure itself is unnecessary. It doesn't actually exist. Make your goal, instead of doing it perfectly, to get it done and to do it regularly. Set a manageable amount of time and commit to delivering. On the days that you do a totally crappy job, don't forget to thank yourself for showing up. If you enjoyed this talk, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button, as I have a new video every Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And as always, there's so much more talk to come soon. Bye for now.